Today I'm going to be working on these thrift store finds, and my inspiration is a French country garden look. So I want to turn them into something that looks like they've been sitting in the garden for a while. They're fine as they are, but I want to make them look like they're made out of concrete. Join me as I work on these and I'll share with you exactly how I get the look. Welcome to Soul Station. The first thing that I do is I always clean everything up, and I don't like it when there are stickers on the bottom or the back, so I'll use a razor blade, and lemon oil works really good to remove sticky residue, so that's usually what I use. To create a concrete look, I'm going to use some great paint that I already have. This is a DIY cottage color, and so I'm going to use this, and then I'm mixing in 2 heaping teaspoons of baking soda, and I'm just mixing it up until I get kind of a thick texture. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. A lot of DIYers use this technique because it works. So the goal is just to create texture. You want a thick paint on here, and so you're not trying to get a smooth brush-free finish here. You're just painting it on all over and going for a textured and concrete type of a look. Whenever I paint on something like this where there's carving and metal, it's so much fun to paint it in a lighter color if it's dark, because you can really see the carvings come out after you paint it, and then when you dry brush it with like a lighter color, it just really makes the detail that's in the metal or in the wood to really pop. This pot I found at a thrift store, and it didn't have anything in it, and I had this extra topiary that I stuck into the top of it, but I think that this pot actually had a Christmas tree in it. So anyways, I'm going to repurpose it into a topiary. Well, we've also been working on our house, and it is almost finished, but one of the very last things that we have left to do is our bathroom, and I wanted to just give you a little sneak peek. We're not quite there yet, but I'm so excited because for the first time I got to take my first bath in our bathroom. As you can see, it's not completely done. We still have to finish our shower as soon as I pick out the tile. But we are getting close, and it was such a treat to take a bath again for the first time in a very long time. I thought this rose wall art had some potential. I wasn't really fond of the black speckles or distressing. So painting this with the gray and baking soda mixture, I'm just kind of pushing it in, but not completely, so that some of the white shows through, because that's going to give it some more depth. I am trying some new paint again. I really enjoy trying these different paints out. So this time I'm trying Dixie Belle paint, and this is the first time I've ever tried this paint, and I'm using a color called Fluff. And so I just put it on the same plate. The gray paint had dried, and I'm dry brushing anyway, and even if it mixes up a little bit, that's okay. So you can see I off-brushed a little bit, but I'm still putting quite a bit more than I normally would if I'm dry brushing. But I want that gray to show through underneath, so I'm intentionally avoiding the cracks and different little spots that are going to give detail to the bird, to the roses, that kind of thing. So you just want to not push it in completely to every nook and cranny, because you want to have that texture come through. I like to go in every different direction too when I'm doing this kind of a paint. Here you can see I'm doing a little bit lighter of a dry brush, and that really does make the details on these pots really just stand out. I I sealed everything with Annie Sloan clear wax. To give all of this a more aged look, I'm using some dark wax by DIY. I applied a little bit of this to all of these projects. I've been thinking about the gifts that God has given us. All of the gifts that we are promised in His Word are pretty amazing. And I thought, what if every believer for just 10 minutes a day gave thought to the gifts that they've been given? How would that change the way that I think about myself in this world? Or how would that change the way that I treat those around me? My prayer for each one of you is that after watching any of my videos, you leave feeling inspired and hopeful and stirred with a sense of creativity. Maybe you have some things like this that you could do the same technique to. Maybe you have some garden things in your garage, or maybe you have some things around the house that you could paint and turn into something beautiful. This pot had a lot of empty space in it, and so I'm filling it with some Spanish moss, and then I also added some green garden moss. The hot glue worked pretty good to hold it in there, and I just grabbed out bunches of the Spanish moss and just kind of pulled it apart and fluffed it up. I decided to add a little bit of the moss to the outside of the pot just to make it look like the moss had grown there as it had been sitting in the garden. This pot just needed a little bit of filler, and so I'm using the Spanish moss in here as well. And I also want to tie this topiary together with the other ones so that when I display it in my market, they look good together. Okay, let's take another look at what they looked like before I started. I just couldn't paint the cute little fawn. I wanted to, I was planning on painting it, but I just couldn't do it. What do you think? Would you have painted the deer or would you have left it? I added in these other two moss topiary balls that I had purchased years ago, and I just wanted to style with them, and you can see how they have some moss on the outside of the pot too, which gave me a little bit of inspiration for this project. Thank you so much for watching and also for liking and subscribing to my channel. I appreciate every one of you so much, and I love your comments. And also, I just wanted to remind you again that I will be doing a market, the Farm Chicks, in June. And if you're local and in the area, I would love to see you there. So plan on coming if you are. And I just want to say again, thank you for being here.